What's up, gamers, and welcome back for more WotC-20. Today's matchup is Steelix Fortress versus Nightmare Sleep Swap. Steelix Fortress, also referred to as Steel Ball Run for those JoJo Bizarre Adventure fans out there. So, if you're a JoJo fan, please smash the like button. And otherwise, we'll get started here with Steelix getting the first turn, with Cleffa inactive and no bench for either side, and a Ghastly active for Sleep Swap. The Sleep Swap variant, as we mentioned before, is the Nightmare variant, so that is going to be using Haunter from E-Reader as its primary attacker, particularly the Nightmare Haunter, with the big attack being Dream Eater, so we'll talk more about that when it comes out. Lots of Sleep Swap variants available. There's also the Medicate package, there's also the Umbreon package, but this one seems to be the more popular variant at the moment, and for good reason. Being able to consistently shotgun for 50 damage with energy efficiency is pretty good. But on Fortress's side, we're going to be dealing with a lot of griefing to the swap mechanics. We're going to also be dealing with Steelix. And Steelix with Earth Rift loves a wide bench, so we'll see how this goes. It's a fun dynamic matchup. Huge advantage for Steelix side. And a fan club for Sleep Swap comes down to bring out a Cleffa and a Drowsy. That Drowsy is from Rocket, also important. It does have an ability that can be useful in long distance hypnosis. It's just a coin flip, and heads puts your opponent's defending Pokemon to sleep. Tails, it's your own active, but you can evolve out of that, so a little flexibility there. It also can use that power from the bench or from the active slot. And then we're going to see a Trader putting in a Aquapolis Espeon, so very powerful support card. Very Mon-heavy deck already in Sleep Swap, so slotting an Espeon not the easiest thing to do. But a Doduo gets pulled out, which is also very smart. The sooner you can get that Hypno-Dodrio combo online, the sooner you can start putting your opponent's active to sleep, and it definitely makes a big difference in Eek Wars. So, didn't get to talk about Fortress's side yet. There is an Eco Gym down, which is important. Sleep Swap runs a lot of energy removal, and Eco Gym makes it so that if a attack, power, or trainer card discards another player's non-colorless energy card from a Pokemon, that energy card is returned to the owner's hand. So helps Metal stick around. Of course, Metal here on Cleffa is not ideal. You really want those on your Fortress or on your Steelix, but it's fine. Sometimes you gotta attach Metal to Cleffa, and Metal on Cleffa is not the worst. It does make it harder to knock out with that 30 HP, which is already low. Seeing Charity come down as well, so one Cleffa to another here on the bench, and then a Cyclone. So that will guarantee a free Eek for Steelix this turn. But that Charity card is worth talking about. It's not commonly seen. I think I played it once in Caesar, but Charity definitely better slotted in for the Steelix deck. If you're not familiar with Charity, you can attach it to your active, and unless that Pokemon gets knocked out, meaning you're active, it goes back to your hand at the end of the turn. If your Pokemon attacks and does damage to the defending, you can reduce that damage by any amount, rounded to the nearest 10. So once you put it down, it kind of stays around. You can put it down for an Eek and it'll bounce back to your hand. It can really help you play around Goldberry. It can help you play around Mr. Mime, which is very important in higher level gameplay and deck matchups. So Charity is good, but the real reason it's good in this deck is because Steelix can Earth Rift and not touch the active, but still deal 10 to the opponent's bench. So you can really lock your opponent out of the game, strand an active, and just constantly loop Charity with Earth Rift to wipe their bench and leave them stranded in something in the active that they don't want to switch out because of Fortress. So that Spikes dynamic finally really forcing an issue. I know that Fortress has gone through a lot of build iterations, so that's a lot of what's going on at play here. I've been missing a lot of these turns, so Blackstar promo Eevee joins the bench as well as a Pineco, so now we're seeing more setup on Steelix's side as well as a Trader, and a Copycat was also placed this turn. So that Cyclone allowing for a good Eek. Igglybuff will go back in. And we can kind of see a hand peep here right now. 3 tools in the hand for Sleep Swap, 2 of them being EXP All and 1 being Focus Band. Other common tools to see in Sleep Swap would be Strength Charm. Unsure if there's any Mr. Mime in the Sleep Swap deck. I don't think there would be room for it. And you can see the Southern Island Onyx at the bottom of the deck for Steelix. Also a very good basic Really big 90 HP, a very usable attack and slam with DCE that doesn't mind seeing that energy committed because of Earthrid for Steelix later. So we have 2 Pineco out, so Sleep Swap really wants to be playing the aggressor in this matchup. You want to be getting as online as soon as possible with Sleep so you can stop your opponent or at least slow them down from setting up. Seeing 2 Pineco out already is a big deal. 1 Pineco or 1 Fortress, you can probably reasonably still swap around with Dodrio's Retreat Aid and use Hypno to put things to sleep with Sleep Pendulum. It just needs to be in the active slot. It's a once per turn. But once there's more than 1 Fortress, that's when you really have to consider whether or not you want to take that damage. And we will see EXP all attached to Hypno. And also a copycat in response to that. Eek, good response. Psychic energy attached for turn goes down onto Ghastly, which in and of itself is a decent mind counter. Also 50 HP on a free retreater, very strong. Fossil Ghastly, probably the best Ghastly in format. EXP all, if you're not familiar with the tool, is from Neo Destiny. And you attach it to a Pokemon, and during your opponent's turn, if your active is knocked out, you can take a basic energy attached to your active and attach it to the Pokemon with EXP all. So EXP all effectively is like a delayed double attach for turn if you want to think about it that way. It also allows an energy efficient deck like this with Haunter, which only needs 2 energy to attack with Dream Eater or Nightmare to keep attacking even if your active gets knocked out. Just worth noting that this Sleep Swap build will have some lower HP mons, Haunter with 70 HP, Hypno and assumedly Espeon in this build, clocking in at the highest of only 80, so we will keep an eye on all of that. With Eco Gym down, I'm not sure if this Sleep Swap deck has a Stadium either. Sometimes they run Resistance Gym. And we'll see an Elm. We'll see what gets pulled out with this Elm. No more trainers for turn. But Eco Gym being down definitely makes it more difficult, although with all the tools that we've seen so far in this Sleep Swap deck, I would be surprised to see 4 energy removal, like other builds sometimes can run. No attacking yet for either side. And now you can just see another Aquapolis Espeon in hand, 2 in hand actually, as well as a Hypno. And going to try to Eek, but Cleffa is going to hit a Tails on that baby roll. And unable to find Dodrio. Southern Islands Onyx joins the bench, alternate language. So now you've got a full board for Steelix, only 2 Fortresses to max out here, with Onyx, 2 Cleffa, and Espeon taking up the other slots. Charity coming down. Really nice that doesn't clog your deck if you continue eking. Warp bouncing. Good attach for turn. That Cyclone energy is going to force a free Eek here. And free retreating Ghastly will go in. Now if Spikes were up, that Cyclone would be a free switch. It would be damageless from Spikes. And thinking about what to do before eking here, it will just be Eek though. Wasn't sure what else was being considered. Gonna draw for turn, you see a Gust. Another Cleffa joins the bench, that'll stop any Cyclone looping. Or at least it won't guarantee Eeks, the way we've been seeing. DCE to Hypno, good attach. Hypno, reasonable attacker in its own right. A little Nombo-y with its own ability, so if you put something to sleep and you do want to use Spiral Aura's push, you will be negating that sleep you put on them, but the flexibility is really nice. Spiral Aura does 30, and if the defending Pokemon is not knocked out, you may gust your opponent, so very, very strong ability. And Eek now resolving as well for Steelix. You can see Igglybuff back in hand. Onyx getting gusted up, but we know that there's at least Cyclone. Is there a Warp energy available? Very strong with Espeon to be able to reuse your warps and cyclones. Onix does seem stranded. Steelix coming in. Aquapolis Steelix, as we know, one of the better cards in the format. Very powerful. And we're going to see an item finder. This pitches Iggly, which won't matter much in this matchup, and a Healing Field. Would much rather keep the Eco Gym against Sleep Swap, which makes sense. Grabbing Copycat. Charity coming down before Copycat, assumedly. Gonna try to look for something like a DCE off of this, try to get some attacking going with Earth Rift. If you're not familiar with Steelix, 100 HP, really bulky. DCE is all you need for Earth Rift. It does 10 damage to all of your opponent's Pokemon, including the bench. And then you flip a coin. If tails, you can't use it the following turn. We'll talk about Iron Smash when we get to it, but Earth Rift is really the star attack on that card. Just very hard to overcome, especially for Sleep Swap. There's our first fortress of the match, so Spike's online. If during Sleep Swap's turn a new active is chosen from any action, Spikes will deal 10 damage to it. And a second Charity, this deck does run 2 of them. I've always thought one was enough because of how much around it likes to stick. But you can in fact attach 2. Metal Energy for turn is also on the Steelix, so no attacking yet, but it's just getting ready. And it looks like turn will pass back over to Sleep Swap, so both Charities bounce back to hand. There's an energy removal. Found a Haunter as well. Can't find the Dodrio though. You can see an Eevee in hand, another Ghastly, and a Cleffa. ER and Gus sitting there as well. DCE onto the Haunter, not ideal, but worth getting it set up for attacking. And Eevee joins the bench. Now, not an Eevee that we typically see, that is Energy Evolution Eevee. It can't free retreat like Blackstar Promo Eevee, but it has 50 HP instead of 30, and sometimes that matters quite a bit. It also does have an evolution-centric ability. With Energy Evolution, if you attach an energy card to it, you can flip a coin, and if heads, search your deck for a card that evolves from Eevee, that is the same type as the energy card, and attach it. If you flip tails though, you don't get to do that, and it would be your attach for turn. Notably, it would work with Darkness Energy, but if you fail the coin flip, Darkness Energy would start to damage Eevee, so that's tough. But at least in Sleep Swap, when you have Dodrio's Retreat 8 available, that Eevee's a free retreater too, so perfectly viable substitute. Haunter coming in, taking 10 damage from Spikes. And it will just go for a Nightmare. 10 damage to Steelix. It would have been 20, but Metal Energy is attached. And now Steelix is asleep. We'll see if it wakes up between turns. And it does. So we will not see Dream Eater next turn, and now there's another Metal Energy attached, so now Nightmare will be dealing 0 damage. And now Sleep Swap staring down the first Earth Rift of the game. We're going to see a Gust, which means I assume we will see some Charity work put into effect here. This Eevee cannot damage this Steelix. And it will be Earth Rift, so 10 to everything. Opting to do the 10 damage to the Eevee. Might as well ramp up on it. You can always strand it with 10 HP left and leave it 10 HP away from being knocked out and then start using Charity. So it's going to be a little hard keeping track of all the dice simply because I cannot see them very well. But right now, everything on the bench has 10 except for Haunter, which is at 20, Eevee's at 10, And then the Steelix is at 20, so we'll try to keep an eye on all that. 2 ER in hand now, so maybe this Sleep Swap build is running all 4, Eco Gym being a problem. Cleffa comes in, goes up to 20 thanks to spikes from Fortress. Cyclone to the benched Eevee. Rolling for Energy Evolution, but it's a colorless energy, so there's nothing Eevee could evolve into there. I guess technically you would still flip the coin though. It does say whenever you attach an energy card to Eevee, flip a coin, so. Eevee can now evolve into Super Eevee, which doesn't exist. A little bit of rules clarification. Alright, and not opting to put that Cyclone down then. I also cannot read that die to see if Steelix is able to use Earth Rift next turn or not. But that does not matter now that it has gone to the bench. If it becomes active again, it can most certainly Earth Rift. So Fortress comes active with Gust. Cleffa will Eek. Turns will pass. So if you're Sleep Swap, at this point, you're really looking for Espeon. Depending on who your active is, being able to move energy instead of moving a Mon into the active is a good way to get around spikes and keep up pressure. Hypno's probably your best active at this point as well. It can constantly apply sleep and also push things out if you don't want them in the active. You can try to strand something with no energy. As long as Espeon can't Warp Bounce for Steelix, that'll be a good way to slow things down. And we'll see an ER here. Do you target a DCE off the Hypno, or do you go after the Haunter? And it will be the DCE off of the Haunter. So now no attackers online for swap, and turns will pass. Metal Energy for turn to Fortress, just slowly building up. No DCE to bounce and attach next turn with Espeon, but that is okay. Psychic for turn attaches to Haunter, now it's back online with Nightmare or Dream Eater. Haunter coming active, up to 30 now with spikes damage. It's going to come in and put Fortress to sleep for 10. Roll for Wake Up. Can't read it, but it looks like it woke up. Trader for turn from Steelix, putting a Cleffa in. We'll most certainly see the next Fortress come in. And we will. Quick deck check as well. All sorts of cards in there. Prizing's still 6-6. We have yet to see any prizes taken, but the way Steelix spreads damage, things will likely blow apart pretty quickly. We'll likely see some multi-prize turns. Sleep Swap was not able to get online fast enough. We have yet to see Dodrio. That's a big problem. Not sure if this deck is running a 3-3 line. Some of them run 2-2. I think 3-3 is really important. And Cyclone will pull in a Cleffa. Moving Haunter to bench. Still no attacks able to come out though from this fortress. Turns pass. There's the Dodrio. And there's a Magby in hand. That's interesting. Gonna come back in with Haunter, but it's at 30 damage. It'll go to 50. It only has 70 HP. Decides not to move it in. Just reshuffling the cards there. You can always start powering up Dodrio. Dodrio can get up to some pretty crazy damage numbers with Rage if you're able to control the board enough. You can opt into increasing that damage with Rage by switching back and forth with some other Pokemon you have. Dodrio's Rage does cap at 70, which is pretty good if you have DCE on it. What will Comp Search grab here? Looks like EXP All is being considered. See a Warp in the deck. 2 Warps with Espeon, a Dodrio on top. That's tough. Is that the card they need? Considering a Copycat, I assume, with that hand count, or Shaman. Shaman, a good disruptive piece. You can see 2 in this list. Elm being considered. I would try to grab an Espeon. I think I only saw 1 copy. There might be 1 prized, assuming it's a 2-2 line. Energy return with Espeon would really help some of the awkwardness with the bench here. Did not see what was grabbed there. Alright, looks like it was Shaman, so both sides shuffle hands in, draw a fresh 4. That's a good way to get rid of Charity. Not that it was really doing its thing quite yet, but Charity's not going to discard itself, so putting it back in the deck is an option. And 4 off the top, there is a trader. That's one way to go get Espeon. That was a great Shaman for Sleep Swap. And there is the Espeon. Alright, Espeon has joined the bench. Debating bringing in something else? No? Don't recall if there's an attach for turn yet, but you have a Psychic Energy in hand. You can put the Focus Band on something. Maybe the Dodrio. Honestly, I'd look at Dodrio as a pretty good out here. Espeon, also a good damage dealer in its own right. You can damage blast for 30. Same energy cost as Hypno. And then you flip coins equal to the number of damage counters on the defending, so it'll deal an additional 10 for each heads there. That can really scale well on something with big HP like Steelix, especially when you're trying to chew through some metal. And it's just a pass. So maybe there was already an attach for turn in that case. Now that Shaman giving access to a Warp Energy for Steelix. Dangerous weapon to have here against Sleep. There's the Warp. So Fortress could attack now. Doesn't even have to though with Warp. Bring in Steelix. And bounces 2 energy with Espeon back to hand. Looks like that's a heads. And another heads. So double heads means Earth Rift gets off the ground successfully, and Steelix can use it next turn. So now we've got 2 Clefos at 20. The Espeon at 20 as well. The Dodrio, I think, at 20. The Hypno at 20. The Haunter at 40. Oh, just kidding. That one Clefo is knocked out. So that is our first prize of the match, prizing 5-6. Lots of Pokemon softened up on the bench, too. Psychic attached to turn for Cleffa. I would like to see that DCE committed. Focus Band to Dodrio like we discussed last turn. And an Eek, probably have to do it. That Cleffa is likely as good as knocked out, and you don't want to see that. You don't want to see that happen with your hand at 1 card. Of course, DCE on Dodrio would have been nice, but you have Espeon to move the DCE off of Hypno if you really had to. Another key here for swap will be don't put more Pokemon on the bench. Find your key players, and then that way Cyclone bouncing won't be able to control your side of the board as easily. There's Cyclone, speaking of it. Always want to be able to front something with energy on it so you can swing back. Thinking about what to do here on Steelix's side. Think it's just going to go straight for Earth Rift. Dealing 10 to everything and not being able to use it next turn. Which means another prize is taken, prizing now 4-6. No Cleffas left alive. Haunter at 50, 30s on Espeon and Dodrio. So now, Rage is looking pretty good. Two Metal does mean that Spiral Aura won't be dealing a lot of damage here, so that's a little tough, but Sleep does mean that the opponent needs to get through some flips if they want to be able to guarantee the Earth Rift. Of course, we know that there's a Warp in hand, so being able to warp between your Cleffa back into Steelix just re-enables Earth Rift. Psychic Attach return to Espeon, not committing to the Dodrio line of play. Steelix goes asleep. And ER Metal anyway, so it'll go to hand, but that'll at least allow for more damage to be tagged. Spiral Aura will allow for 20 damage. Which does open up some advantages with Espeon soon. And we'll seal 20 tagged. And I guess that was a heads because it looks like Steelix is back active? Awake? Based on card positioning. I think it's got 40 on it, but I can't read the die. I thought it had 20 on it earlier from Haunter dealing 20 to it with Nightmare like a long time ago. Maybe it was only 10 though. There's the warp we were talking about. Earth Rift back online. Unclear how much damage is on that Steelix for me. And there's a Strength Charm, okay. So Strength Charm should allow your attack to deal 10 more to the active. The current ruling for Strength Charm is that it will also augment bench damage for something like Earth Rift, so that will knock out the Haunter. That'll deal 20 to Dodrio and 20 to Espeon. And that needs to be revisited. But as for now, current ruling, it is agreed upon. Strength Charm is doing work. I think I just saw a single copy of Fossil Gengar. It's interesting. Attach return to Dodrio. Doduo joins the bench, not sure if that's a great idea. Just because it could get gusted in and stranded, it can't really do damage. The opponent only needs 3 more prizes anyway. Prizing 3 to 6. We'll see ER again, but we can't because Elm was just played. Steelix going to sleep, and then Spiral Aura again, tagging what I believe is 20 to it. And it is awake regardless. Not the best sleep flips for swap this match. Lots of thinking on Steelix's side. Don't think we found Charity yet. Pretty big hand. Metal Energy for turn to active on Steelix. And slowly working towards Iron Smash, but it will just be Earth Rift for 10 to everything. Can it be used next turn? I can't tell, but I'm sure we'll find out. Looks like Dodrio is 10 away from being knocked out. It does have Focus Band though. That should mean that Espeon is matching it at 60 out of 80, 10 on Doduo out of 50, and Hypno, I'm not sure. Maybe 60 out of 80 as well. Magby in hand doesn't do much. Another ER could at least continue to chip away at Steelix. Not a lot of energy on bench, so taking the Steelix out would really help. ER's the Cyclone, not the Metal. Psychic for turn to Espeon. Pretty good time for Shaman. Huge hand being looked at. Good Shaman. Opponent's going like -5 off of that. With one Cyclone ER'd, you can see the other in hand too. We'll see what 4 get grabbed. Not the most helpful hand for swap here. You're really looking for energy at this point, I'd think. A couple of warps, not what you want to see against Fortress. Not very bounceable in that regard. EXP all attaching to Espeon. Hypno putting Steelix to sleep. And dealing what I assume is only 10. And it's awake. These have been brutal sleep rolls. I think Steelix, it looks like it's at 60 out of 100. Not very close to being knocked out, but Espeon could certainly clean that up. Alright, DC to Fortress, that's a big find. A lot of ERs have been used. Gets another attacker up here in case something happens to Steelix. Earth Rift again, that's going to take out the Dodrio. That was a heads, I saw that. Espeon at 70. I think the Hypno too, but the Dodrio has to roll for Focus Band now. It's a Tails, it's knocked out. Everyone seems to be reacting to that, but not sure saving it would have mattered a ton. Alright, sleep again. Warp. Using warp here would end the game. That would knock out the Espeon, and then anything else coming active except for the Doduo would get knocked out. The Hypno would get knocked out. The Doduo would be stranded with 10 HP and unable to do damage. Only 2 prizes needed here for Steelix to end the game. Swap getting 0 so far. Very tough matchup, pretty dynamic though. Lots of plays to consider. A little quick read up on spikes. Spikes reads, during your opponent's turn, whenever one of your opponent's benched Pokemon becomes his or her active. So Warp does not get around spikes. Alright, more chip damage to Steelix, looks like it's at 70. Not being able to get that Espeon online hurts. It stays asleep though. Is there a warp in hand? No, but there's a metal, that would do it. 3 metal on Steelix and you are doing nothing. Wakes up. I think we're just about done here, not seeing a way out for Sleep Swap. Warp attaches to Doduo. The only thing with a chance of damaging Steelix now is Espeon, but there's no way to get it active. It has 10 HP remaining, as does Hypno. EXP all not doing much here. Focus Band would not save anything from Spike's damage. Best you can do here is sleep and then, I guess, push with Spiral Aura. You could pull in a Fortress with no energy, hope your opponent doesn't find a warp, go from there. Steelix wakes up on sleep, and I think we'll see a double prize. There's Charity in hand. There's a warp in hand now. An Earth Rift should end the game here with a knockout on Hypno as well as Espeon for 2 prizes. And that'll be it. 06. Tough matchup. Still fun gameplay. Thank you for watching. Comment, like, subscribe for more WotC-20. We'll catch you later.